essentially.
Evelyn's first time lighting the chalice. She's been wanting to do it for weeks, and I met Evelyn when she was a tiny little baby, and before she was a baby in her mom's belly, and I did her child dedication.
But now my brother's grown.
And then your brother's grown.
Now
Okay.
he's one.
We gather this day as people from many places, with many different ways of understanding the world, with many different ways of being. So much can divide us, but we come together. By the light of this flame, may we come to see one another more clearly. May we come to accept one another more compassionately. May we come to understand. So the choir is now going to sing a wonderful piece for you about freedom.
Oh freedom, oh freedom, oh freedom, freedom is coming. Oh freedom, oh freedom, oh freedom, freedom is coming. Oh freedom, freedom is coming. Freedom is coming. Freedom is coming. Oh yes, I know. Freedom is coming. Freedom is coming. Freedom is coming. Oh yes, I know. Freedom is coming. Freedom is coming. Freedom is coming. Oh yes, I know. Oh yes, I know. Oh yes, I know. Freedom is coming. Oh yes, I know. Oh yes, I know. Oh yes, I know. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. Freedom is coming. Oh yes, I know. 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 Freedom is coming. Freedom is coming. Freedom is coming. Oh yes, I know. Freedom is coming. Freedom is coming. Freedom is coming. Oh yes, I know. Oh freedom. Oh freedom. Oh freedom. Freedom is coming. Yes, oh freedom. Oh freedom. Oh freedom. Freedom is coming. Yes. Oh freedom. Oh freedom. Oh freedom. Freedom is coming. Oh freedom. Oh freedom. Oh freedom. Freedom is coming. Oh freedom. Oh freedom. Oh freedom. Freedom is coming. Oh yes, I know.
So your turn now. I'd like to invite you to rise as you're able, and we're going to sing together a song called Filled with Loving Kindness. It's based on a Buddhist meditation about loving kindness, so growing loving kindness in ourselves, but wishing it for ourselves, wishing it for each other. So please rise as you're able. It's number 1031.
May I be filled May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
It's my pleasure to welcome you this morning to this radically inclusive community of faith, which means that it doesn't matter who you are, or where you came from, or what you've done, or what joys or sorrows you carry, or the color of your skin, or if you are male or female or other, no matter who you love, there's a place for you here. You are welcome here. For those of you who have arrived for the very first time today, a special congratulations on your courage, because it's hard to come to a new place, especially in a time like this, where places like this seem very, very archaic. But this isn't, and we hope that you will feel welcome, that you will feel at home here, and just invite you to take a deep breath and let us welcome you. And for all of you, I hope that in the next hour you find something here that inspires you, that sustains you, that makes you think about things for the rest of the week, that tweaks you just enough so that you feel the discomfort that helps you grow. Whoever you are not alone. You are welcome here. And I'd like to invite Adam, who's going to do the reading. Hi, Adam. Adam Kennedy.
So this is a reading by the It's a reading from the an Apple computer advertisement on an Apple iPhone with this cracked screen, unfortunately. Okay. Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs and the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can praise them, disagree with them, quote them, disbelieve them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They invent, they imagine, they heal, they explore, they create, they inspire, they push the human race forward. Maybe they have to be crazy. How else can you stare at an empty canvas and see a work of art? Or sit in silence and hear a song that's never been written? Or gaze at a red planet and see a laboratory on wheels? While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
Thanks. I'd like to invite the children now to come forward for the time for Molly.
Monkey was really, really hungry. Well, he didn't have any food. He went to the kitchen and all the cupboards were bare, and all the banana trees, well, their harvest had been and gone, and all the bananas had been sold away, so he had nothing to eat. So he was really hungry, and he went to his friend's house to visit. Well, his friend wasn't there, so he snuck in the window, and he stole some food from Rabbit's cupboard. Because Rabbit had food in the cupboard. The monkey was really, really hungry. But Rabbit found out. And Rabbit was really quite upset because she trusted Monkey. Hold Rabbit up so you can see her. She's not quite tall enough. Stand in the step. There we go. Rabbit trusted Monkey. So Rabbit went to the forest police and reported Monkey. Because she was really upset at that betrayal. So Monkey went to the forest court and let's not catch Monkey on fire. That would be an unjust punishment, I think. And the different animals all said that he should be punished in different ways. How do you think someone should be punished for stealing some food? Nobody's really big enough. Yes. Any adults? Some harsh and less harsh punishments. How do you think he should be punished? If he was naughty, what do you think he should happen?
Yeah.
Sorry? If he was hungry, he should be given some food. Some people thought that way, and other people thought that if he stole something, he should get sent to the forest jail. And there was big arguments because people didn't know quite what to do because he was hungry, but he did steal. So they had a big vote and decided, what do you think they decided? That they should all pool their food and give Monkey enough food to see him through the winter. Because there were other animals that didn't quite have enough food either. And so they all put their food together and all the animals took a fair share and nobody starved over winter.
So how meta is this? I was just watching our service on the live stream.
That was good.
And the last song was about meta Bahavana, so yeah, extra meta. So I'd like to invite you to rise as you're able. We're going to sing together number 10, 12, When I Am Frightened.
When I am certain, will you hold my hand? Will you be strong for me? Sing to me quietly. Will you share some of your stories with me? If you will show me compassion, then I may learn as you do, then I may learn to care. you will show me acceptance, then I may learn to give as you do, then I may learn to give. When I am troubled, will you listen to me? When I am lonely, will you be my friend? Will you be there for me, comfort me tenderly? Will you share some of your feelings with me? If you will show me commitment, then I may learn to love as you do, then I may learn to love.
Today we're talking about mental illness and justice. And in some ways that seems fairly straightforward. People with mental illnesses ought to be protected from injustice, just as we'd expect people to be protected on the basis of illnesses, disabilities, race, class, sexual orientation, religion, gender, and so on. But it's not nearly that simple. So I like to think of myself as a fairly thoughtful, careful guy about what I say and who I offend, and I watch myself and my words over the past few weeks, and I was thinking about today's topic, and I noticed just how easy and how common it is for me to call something mad, or crazy, or nuts, or even insane. That's insane. And I do it a lot, and I suspect many of you do too. And those words roll thoughtlessly off our tongues without thinking when we describe people too. Those we like and those we don't. Oh, he's mad. He's absolutely crazy. I love him. And we don't do it to hurt anyone, and we don't really think about the potential impact. They are all derogatory words about mental illness, though. Imagine if someone used derogatory words about gay or black or Asian or disabled people anywhere near you as thoughtlessly. It wouldn't go unnoticed. We wouldn't let it pass without a comment or at least a good deal of discomfort, maybe a little British throat clearing. So we recognize how very invisible the bias against mental illness can be, and how automatic it can be. And I would say this part of our conversation today is actually easy in a way, because I imagine we all agree that people with mental illnesses should not be insulted, that people with mental illnesses should not be stigmatized, that just as with people with difficulty in hearing or seeing or walking, people with cognitive and emotional disabilities should be free from discrimination. And I suspect that after this short consideration, we'll all be a bit more conscious about how we say and what we say, and it will last at least for a little while. But still, it's not nearly that simple. There's something very odd, I think, about our way of responding to mental illness. And let's get one thing out of the way at this point. Mental illness is incredibly common. And it's not like losing a limb where it's either there or it's not there. Mental illness represents a tremendous range of types and severities of disorder. You might have a mild depression, or one triggered by some traumatic event in your life. You may have some disorder severe enough for you to have a poor grasp on reality. Mental illness spans this range and more. And when we go and use terms like crazy lightly, we actually know that we're talking about ourselves and our loved ones. I have a privileged view into human lives because I'm the sort of person who people tell what's going on, what's really going on. And it is the rarest of people who've never had any degree of mental illness at all, which doesn't mean that there aren't some people who won't admit it, and perhaps they won't even admit it to themselves. I think that never having mental illness would be something like never having a cold. When you sneeze and cough and feel miserable, you may call it an allergy, but let's face it, we all get colds from time to time. So I'd like to ask you, with a show of hands, how many of you have never had a loved one experience mental illness? You heard what I said, right? Just checking. Can you, how many of you are awake? Just testing. Okay, fine. Okay, so that was pretty clear. And how many of you have never personally experienced mental illness? Right. Okay. So you see, this, when we say crazy, we're talking about us, right? The official numbers say that 1 in 4 people are suffering from a mental illness at any one time, and I'm sure that the real numbers are more like this, because many people go undiagnosed, or simply unacknowledged, or they get over it. And we might not want to acknowledge mental illness because of the way we've learned to think about it, despite the fact that it affects all of us. Mental illness means crazy. It means weak. It means your life will be horrible and you will be a total failure. That's what admitting mental illness is. And when a pilot a year ago deliberately crashed a Germanwings plane over the Alps, the tabloids ran headlines like, "Madman in cockpit," because he had suffered depression. The message is pretty clear. If you have a mental illness, the world will think terrible things of you, best not to admit it. And even while mental illness is considered an unalterable cause of danger and failure, there's also, paradoxically, a sense that mental illness is not quite real. It's not real in the way that physical illness is. People with mental illness are often told, you know, try harder, tough it out, pull your socks up. And while there are things that we can all do to help ourselves deal with and sometimes avoid coming down with any particular illness, we don't tell people with cancer, you know, get over it, try harder, or suggest, what we do is we suggest that they get the help they need, that they follow through with treatment, but we don't assume that they are the cause of their own problem. Their own weakness is the cause of their own problem. And I know about the denial and the self-criticism that comes with mental illness, and I felt like that before I recognized and acknowledged that I suffer with depression and anxiety. If you had a flu or diabetes, would you deny if you knew it would mean cutting yourself off from treatments that could help? But that's what we do with mental illness. And we are not ever either mentally ill or completely healthy, one or the other, like an on and off light switch. There are no absolutes in mental illness any more than there are in physical illness. Physically healthy or 0% physically healthy, no such thing. If you're alive, the answer is both. You can only hit 0% one way, and at that point, it doesn't really matter anymore because they're doing your funeral. And I can do funerals, by the way, if anybody. Is that fraught with a vast array of strange associations. It was once seen as possession by demons or other evil spirits stuck in your head. And the treatments included, sensibly enough, drilling holes in the skull to let some of those bad things out. And later, when it was recognized that the real cause of mental illness was an imbalance of the humors, which I think is still the understood the state of the art today, then it was purging, laxatives and emetics and bleeding. Those were ways to get those humors back in balance. And then we know the terrible, terrible history of mental asylums where people have been put away for life in inhumane conditions and often so drugged they could barely function at all, much less get better. But mental illness is also imagined to be closely connected to genius and creativity. We think of Van Gogh, for example. We think of that advert that Adam read so beautifully from Apple Computer. Here's to the crazy ones, because they are the only ones who will try to change. Why is our relationship to mental illness so complicated? Why don't we treat mental illness more like physical illness, like diabetes or psoriasis or the flu or a common cold? Why do we not make better treatment available in the NHS, or make more provisions available in workplaces, or recoil, as we should, at the pejorative labels that are used so frequently? And to me, one of the most significant lies in the importance of relationship and the importance of connection. In community and in all of our dealings with people, we are attracted to people we can relate to and understand. People whose thinking, people whose perspectives are most similar to our own. Mental illness, whether it's acute or chronic, can block that understanding. And it's true even for milder mental. A person with depression doesn't just pull themselves out of it. Cheer up, go out to a party, have fun. That's what we would do if we were having a bad day, isn't it? With some forms of mental illness, a sense of reality can be lost. How can we maintain relationship? Diabetes doesn't have these impacts on relationship and understanding. The flu and a cold and eczema and cancer don't prevent connection in such a profound way. And it's important to understand all of this about mental illness. It impacts the way mental illness is treated in our society. It affects the way we personally treat people with mental illness. And it is important because it affects the way we treat ourselves, since many or most of us, or all of us, will have a mental illness at some time in our lives. And it is also important because mental illness is not the only factor that can divide us from one another. It's one of many that keeps us from understanding, keeps us from connecting with each other. Anything that causes us to see the world differently, to interact differently, to relate differently, or to think differently, creates this kind of barrier between people. If someone believes, for example, something very different from you about the nature of reality, how easy is it to relate to them? One of you may believe in a God active in human life, and the other may be certain there is no such thing. How can you really lead to understanding life and its events so differently? And culture divides too, and in some drastic ways we rarely think about. In some cultures, the proper way to deal with conflict is calmly, rationally, directly. In others, the proper way is to deal with it loudly and emotionally. And still others, what conflict? Sweep it under the rug or carpet. depending on which. So without any question of what is best or what is right in that circumstance, how can relationship and connection overcome such a barrier? The differences between us may include the stories we reference, the way men and women interact, deeply held perspectives about justice, our interaction with authority, and differences as simple as whether one should show up early, on time, or fashionably late to a meeting or a gathering. And the work we need to do in each case is much the same. It's the work of listening to understand. Not listening to convince, not listening to persuade, not listening to find out what's wrong so you can fix, but that much harder work of knowing and accepting another person as they are and then beginning from there. Justice depends on such understanding. We as a society will never be able to treat fairly those we cannot understand. And peace depends on such understanding. We can never live peacefully and compassionately with those we cannot understand. We begin with listening. We begin with understanding. May it be so. We will have a collection now with some beautiful music. And this month, today is the first Sunday of the month, and we have a new charity that the collection is going to. And this month it will be for a very local organization helping refugees. It's called the Hackney Cypriot Association, and we're specifically giving to their winter appeal for refugee camps in Greece. So please give generously. There will also be 3 clipboards circulating from right there. And they are signing up for the email list, signing up to help on a Sunday, and I think signing up to bring more love into the world with standing on the side of love. live stream viewers, just want to say goodbye. This is the point where we stop broadcasting. Hope to see you again soon.